Hey, what's up? It's been a while since I've posted any updates on the Vet, and that's mainly because it's been getting a lot of updates as it enters this next era of its performance level. So we'll get to this in a second. I guess we should start with the interior. It now has a fully custom welded in 6-point cage, welded and bolted in. I also put, once you go to the roll cage too, the factory seatbelt stuff sits really close back here. And so to get the bars closer to the wall, we took that out. And so now it has 6-point harness for the driver, the submarine attachment on the AMT Motorsport seat bracket with a Kirky. And then for the passenger, just because the AMT bracket and the Kirky are so expensive, I'm just gonna rock the stock seat, and I just rigged up a little OMP 4-point or 3-point harness that just goes to the back on a single tether. That works all right. What else? We also got the new wheels and tires. It's now on Proxy 888-Rs, real sticky tire, as well as like a matching set of the street, just regular Proxy Sport 275 and a 305 in the back. Up here now it has a Gen 4 iron block that has been stroked with a 4-inch crank and a 5-over bore. So it's a 402, 403 cubic inch motor. I'm reusing the old 243 heads that I had on the LS1, but I actually milled them down to 58 cc's. So this engine's current compression ratio is like 12.1 to 1. The camshaft is a Smeding custom 247, 255, duration at 50 on a 113 lobe separation angle that I spec'd out. And then the old Holley high ram wasn't quite tall enough for me, so we got a 1-inch spacer in there, as well as this totally bitchin' bell mouth throttle body inlet. I'm only going to run that at the Texas Mile, and then on the street we're going to run the old Vera Ram intake that's still in there, this dude up front. So I'm waiting on a throttle body wiring harness adapter, as well as some lines to come in so I can run my crankcase vent to this can. But today I'm going to pull the plugs out of the heads, and I'm going to flash the new update tune to it, and then go ahead and let the motor crank over until we build oil pressure, so that tomorrow, and then I can of course put the plugs back on, put the plug wires on, so tomorrow I can just come home with the wiring harness adapter, throw that on, slap the Holley intake back on, and fire it off for the first time. Right now the new tune is getting flashed on. Nothing is really plugged in on the engine as far as like the main sensors go, like map sensor and throttle body stuff. And so the car is freaking out thinking, oh no, something's wrong. So once this finishes flashing, I'm gonna get the scanner loaded, and we should be able to clear all those codes out temporarily so I can at least crank the engine over until it builds oil pressure. So let's see here. Go down to the scanner. Let's connect to the vehicle, see how many codes there are. I'm guessing gonna be a lot. Yeah, so basically the ones we thought. Map, manifold pressure, and the TPS stuff. So we'll just clear all those temporarily. Reset the car. Of course, I haven't set the TPMS sensors, but let's see here. Why are we still flashing? Okay. Well, let's see if we can get oil pressure to build up here. Let's see if it'll let me crank it. Nope, no crank. Oh, haven't done it so long. My clutch pedal wasn't in. Engine spinning over. No spark plugs are in, so it's able to spin over pretty quick with no load. And here comes oil pressure. Look at that. That's how you prime an LS. Nice. So now we know, well, I can go ahead and hook everything back up. Oil system is now primed. As we saw, it took a while and then it built up. Boom. So we'll put the spark plugs back in it. We'll put the coil wires on. And this thing is basically ready to go after that. Then tomorrow, so today's Monday, and I think it's Monday, March 8th is today. I have Texas Mile on the 28th. And so I have 20 days now, or actually the 27th. I have less than 20 days to fully get used to this new power. This is a 400-inch stroker, 12-to-1, huge cam, decent heads, badass intake. It's probably, I didn't engine dyno it just because I don't have the correct ECU at the shop to run drive-by-wire throttle body at the moment. I could have gotten one, but I don't have enough time to wait a week for Holly to ship a unit. So I just stuffed it into the car. And so the motor, I'm assuming, if you map it out on paper, should be around 640, 650 horse at the crank. That's my estimate. So that's probably equates on a Corvette to somewhere in the 560-ish wheel horsepower, maybe 570. And then because of the compression, I'm already running E85, so I'm just going to keep running E85 now. I put a Racetronics like direct slip in 340 liter per hour fuel pump with their hot wire kit, which pulls power straight off the alternator. So when you're at, high RPM, the alternator is putting out a lot of juice. Your fuel pump gets a lot of juice and it doesn't load the battery at all. So it runs an actual 14.7 or up there in voltage. And so pretty much ready. So yeah, tomorrow, March 9th, I'll have a startup video for you guys of us lighting this thing off for the first time. I am super excited. Not really nervous at all. Just really excited to do it, to hear it fire. I haven't heard this car run since mid-December. So more than a couple months, almost 3 months ago. And back then it was just a stock bottom end LS1 car, which we made, what I'm considering a 500 horsepower combination to the wheel. And we ran 175 at the mile. So now this new combo with basically another 100 horsepower should go into the 180s, I believe, at the mile. So I'm pretty excited. I'm a little nervous about it. I've never driven a car with that much power and this small, which is why, as you can see, we have full race car cage. I'm in the Kirky seat with full harness. And I also went ahead and got the full Hans device, fire suit, fire shoes. I already had the helmet, but I figured, if we're gonna do it, if we're gonna be safe on one thing like the roll cage, let's just go ahead and do it all. And so, ready to go. The same short block also, I built it to handle like 1400 horsepower. So the whole block is studded. It's got ARP 2000 studs everywhere. It's got badass H-beam rods, Smetting crank. It's got the Summit Pro LS piston, but I did the upgraded wrist pin, which is a 220 wall, 220,000th wall thickness wrist pin. And the ring gaps are pretty big. I ran 32 top and second ring gap, which I know is too big for this motor, even with 1300 horsepower turboed, but this is the first big horsepower turbo engine that I'm gonna have tuned. And so I want to err on the side of caution and never worry about touching ring lands in case I get a little spicy with the tune-up and push the limit a little too far at an event or something. So we'll run an NA this mile. Then when we at Smetting come out with our new LS3 cylinder heads, they're an 11-degree 6-bolt casting head. Those have a 68 cc chamber, and that'll lower my compression back down to 10.5 to 1. And then I'll go twin turbo at that point. And basically the whole car at that point is ready for it. It's got the built motor, full cage, harnesses. It's got 888 tires. The only thing lacking will be the drivetrain. So I'll definitely need a new clutch when I go turbo. Right now this just has a single disc aftermarket clutch that's rated for like 700 foot-pounds. And then it's got the built torque tube with the billet couplers. I'm still running a totally stock T56. It's got 390 gears in it that Texas Drivetrain Performance did for me. Those guys are badass. But for mile racing, I'm assuming because it's on a no prep launch that you can't launch the cars hard at all, and you're not allowed to run a dry cradle. You have to be on street tires. So I'm assuming even if I'm making 1,000 to 1,200, 1,300 horsepower, drivetrain should be fine because we're never actually hooking up. We're just accelerating gently, and then once you're in third and fourth gear, just let the boost controller let it fly. So we'll see. This car isn't really my drag race car at all. I don't really care to drag race the Corvette. It's not. I think it's not a bad chassis, but it takes a lot of work to drag race these, as everyone has probably seen. So whenever I want to do a drag race car, we'll just get another Mustang that's solid axle. We'll put a big block Chevy in it, twin turbo that thing, and that'd be the drag race car. So this car, I just want to go fast, Ricky Bobby style in the mile. Anyways, I think that's all I've got for y'all today. I just wanted to make a quick update because I haven't posted anything on the car in a while. And yeah, so tomorrow, my time, on Tuesday, I'm going to fire the motor up for the first time. I'll probably get that video uploaded tomorrow night as well. I don't see why I can't. And should be cool to hear some noise. All right, see you later.